Welcome to The Explainer. You know, we hear these stories all the time about building a business, and it always sounds so glamorous. But what's really going on behind the scenes? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and dive into the real journey of an entrepreneur. And let me tell you, it's a ride full of incredible highs, some pretty crushing lows, and a ton of hard-won lessons.
All right, let's start with this idea of the overnight success. I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? You come up with this brilliant idea, you launch it, and boom, you're a star. But what does overnight actually mean? Let's get right into the question that I think is on pretty much every aspiring founder's mind.
Well, the answer might just blow your mind. According to one serial entrepreneur we're looking at, that overnight success took about 17 years. Yeah, you heard me right, 17. We're talking 9 different startups over almost 20 years. I mean, that right there tells you everything you need to know. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay, so the first big takeaway is this. The path of an entrepreneur is never, ever a straight line up. It's a total roller coaster. You have these amazing highs where you feel like you're on top of the world, but then you hit these stomach-churning drops. So the real question is, how do you even survive that ride? Well, the secret is learning to just embrace the chaos.
And just look at this track record from the entrepreneur we're following. I mean, check this out. 9 total startups. And of those 9, 4 were total failures and 2 were partial failures. That's 6 out of 9 that didn't really work out. And you know what? This isn't some rare thing. This is the game. Failure isn't just a possibility, it's pretty much a guarantee. The real secret sauce, the thing that makes all the difference, is what you do with it.
You know, Winston Churchill absolutely nailed this mindset. He said success is all about going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Think about that. It's not about dodging the failures, it's about keeping that fire in your belly through them. That's resilience, and it's honestly the one thing that separates the people who make it from the ones who just stop.
And look at someone like J.K. Rowling. Her first Harry Potter book got rejected by, a dozen publishers? But for her, every single no was actually a moment of clarity. She said it was like a stripping away of the inessential. It just cut through all the noise and let her focus on what truly mattered in her story. So failure wasn't the end, it was a filter.
And then you've got Michael Jordan. I mean, come on, the guy was cut from his high school basketball team. He didn't see all those thousands of shots he missed as failures, not at all. He saw them as reps, as data, as the very reason he succeeded. Every single miss was just another step on the path to winning.
So, okay, we get it. Resilience is absolutely key. It's non-negotiable. But here's the thing. You can't just power through on enthusiasm alone. You need a plan, a real blueprint. So let's shift gears and talk about how you take a cool idea and actually turn it into a real working business.
Our entrepreneur learned this lesson the hard way with a failed motor pump venture. Imagine this. He jumped into a crowded market, but his product didn't have anything special about it. It was just another motor pump. And what happens then? You get dragged into a brutal price war. It's a race to the bottom. And for a tiny startup, that's a race you're almost guaranteed to lose.
So that painful failure led to this huge aha moment. Every single business has to have a strong, unique selling proposition, a USP. This is your why. It's that one crystal clear, compelling reason why a customer should pick you over all the other options. If you don't have that, you're basically invisible.
And this is super helpful. It's a practical framework for figuring out your own USP. It's not just about listing features. You have to go deeper. Ask yourself, what emotional need are we meeting here? What specific pain are we taking away? A perfect example is Volvo, right? The feature is safety engineering. The emotional need is peace of mind. And the pain point they solve? The fear of getting into an accident. Now that is a powerful USP.
Okay, so you've got your idea, you've got your blueprint, that's your engine. But every engine needs fuel to run. And in the startup world, that fuel is cold, hard cash, capital. Your venture just can't run on air. So let's talk about the money. How do you find it and how do you manage it?
And this is where things get really serious. It's one of the harshest realities for any founder. You can have the most brilliant idea in the world. You can be the most resilient person on the planet. But if you run out of money, it's game over. Being undercapitalized is a top reason businesses fail. It's a classic and totally fatal mistake.
So when you need that cash, you're basically at a fork in the road. Path number 1 is debt. You borrow money. And the good news is you keep 100% of your company. The bad news? You're on the hook to pay it all back, plus interest,
even if the business goes belly up. Path number 2 is equity. This is where you sell a piece of your company to investors. You get to share the risk, which is great, but you're also giving up a slice of ownership and control.
Now, if you decide to go down that equity road and talk to venture capitalists, VCs, they're going to be looking for some very specific things. First off, they want to see a massive market opportunity. Think big. Second, your business model has to be solid and, really importantly, scalable. Third, and this is a big one, they say they bet on the jockey, not the horse. That means they're betting on you and your team. And finally, you got to show them the money. How are they going to get a return on their investment? What's the exit?
You know, getting that funding can feel like this huge victory, like you finally crossed the finish line. But the truth is, the starting gun just fired. The real work, the day in, day out grind of actually building a business, it all comes down to one simple word: execution.
And I just love this quote from Jack Welch, the legendary CEO of GE. He just cuts right through the nonsense. A brilliant strategy that's just sitting in a slide deck is totally worthless. Success comes from implementing that strategy like hell. It's all about relentless, focused action.
And that really is the crux of the matter, isn't it? A great idea is awesome, but it's just the starting line. The magic, the real journey, happens in the messy middle, where a team puts in the hard work to turn that idea into reality. The ability to execute, that's everything.
So what does that execution engine actually look like? Well, it's all about building a system. You need fast decision-making. You need to hire people with fantastic attitudes. That's huge. You blend technology with human smarts in what our author calls assisted automation. And you're constantly training and creating a culture where quality is literally everyone's job. It's about building a system where being great isn't an accident. It's just what you do.
So let's say you do all that. You build the engine, you execute like crazy, and the business starts to take off. Awesome. But with all that focus on the how, it's so easy to lose sight of the why. After years of fighting fires, raising money, and just grinding it out, you can forget why you even started this whole thing. And that brings us to our final and maybe the most important part of this whole journey.
Because once the business is growing and the bank account looks healthy, you have to step back and ask yourself, what's the point? Seriously, what is the point of making all this money if your health is shot, your relationships are a mess, and you're just not happy? Is that really success? And this is a really profound idea. Success without happiness is, well, it's just another kind of failure, isn't it? It's empty. The argument here is for a more holistic life. The goal isn't just to build a company, it's to build a life you love. And that means actually enjoying the journey and creating a culture where everyone's well-being is part of the bottom line. And this ancient Greek saying just sums it up perfectly. Without your health, nothing else really matters, does it? Your wealth becomes useless, your intelligence can't be applied. So maybe that's the real final thought here. The ultimate measure of success isn't just building a venture that makes money, but one that supports your life and your well-being. At the end of the day, maybe that's the greatest venture of all.